Megan Hicks of I Run Far, and we're here at the finish line of the 2017 Lake Sonoma 50 mile. I'm with men's third place finisher Chris Mocko. 2 interviews, 1 weekend. I think you're hitting it big time.
Oh my goodness.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. So I wanted this to be my very first running related interview, but folks beat me. Dispatch Radio beat you guys at Behind the Rocks in Moab. So
they found you.
Bucket list for me was getting onto a podcast or getting interviewed. They got me first, so unfortunately this is not popping my cherry. I'm kind of a pro now. This is second this week, so I'm warmed up.
What is all the references to sex all the time? I'm feeling so uncomfortable.
Moments ago, Dakota Jones walked by and said, well, at least I'm getting laid tonight. And I was like, that doesn't seem appropriate with your mom standing right there, but apparently there was some background that I was not aware of.
Everything is appropriate with Beth Jones.
Second most disappointing moment was that I thought I was getting interviewed with Casey, and I was like, that's a little odd. I don't really know her, but apparently you are interviewing Magda and Casey together.
I hope to, if they'd like to be interviewed together. But I'm kind of here right now to talk about you.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about you?
Yes, I'm also trying. I know third place, I probably don't get as much time, but I think Varner set the record with a 26-minute interview. So
I think it also had like multiple beers, and you just have one.
Well,
you have one, and I have 0. So
this is mostly just so that I don't have the awkward talking like this. So I just have something in my hand. But in case
something to hold, I can get you a teddy bear.
In case Bear Republic is interested in sponsoring an ultra runner, I'm Chris Mocko, third place finisher, and I love Racer 5.
Chris, I saw you at mile 11 today, and you looked okay to me, but you just said a few minutes ago you were thinking about dropping early in the race. So maybe you weren't feeling so good early on?
Well, it's kind of becoming a thing. At Moab, the 50 miler Behind the Rocks, first 15 miles, a little bit different scenario. We got lost. I missed the start of the race.
You missed the start of Behind the Rocks? Oh, I didn't know. That's funny.
I was putting on my gear. Anyways, that race did not start perfectly. Probably through the first 15 miles, heart rate was elevated, wasn't feeling good, and finally kind of got over that hump and started being able to run well. Today, we went out pretty hard.
You guys went out really hard. You came into mile 11 and a half just about on the fastest pace anybody's. The only person who's gone through there faster was Jim Walmsley a la 2015 when he had a bit of a burn to finish in the back half of the top 10.
Okay. Yeah.
You guys were 20 seconds behind his pace that year.
So it is a little demoralizing when you think you're in good shape. As soon as you hit the climbs on the trails, you just get dropped. And the road running was great. I loved the first 2 miles. I was like, I feel great. We did a descent, and I actually kind of took off, and I was like, okay, this helps.
Okay.
But that was probably because I'm the heaviest guy in the field, so I had way more inertia than the rest of the field.
The gravitational force of planet Earth was working on your side.
Yeah, so the guy up front, Jared, I don't know his last name. Hazen. He was my roommate last night, and so we were chatting, and he was like, yeah, I ran this 2 years ago, but I couldn't go to the after party because I wasn't old enough. I was like, how young are you? And I have a decade on him, and Dakota's pretty young too, so I thought it was Dakota and Jared, and then myself, Pat, Ryan, and Sage as the older crew representing the 80s, and I was like, we gotta represent
the 80s.
But anyways, back to the race. I digress. Yeah, I thought I was running pretty well, but somehow I found myself in 6th. Nobody was around. I wasn't really checking my watch, so I didn't really have a good sense for splits, but this is killing me because I just wrote a blog post. Every single time I talk to somebody, I say, run your own race, and I'm at mile 10, I don't see anyone, and I'm just demoralized, and I don't feel good. My calves are tight, I'm not climbing well, I'm not descending well, and it was just a negative place. So I knew that my friends were going to be at mile 18. I was like, let's get to 18. Tell Brian Gillis, I'm dropping out, Brian, I can't do this. And then probably run to 24 because it's an easy return. But then I thought, I've only run 35 miles this week. I need 50 to hit.
This is really going to screw up my weekly average.
It's going to screw up my weekly average. Exactly. I was like, I need to hit triple digits. So I better come back or maybe run tonight. So anyways, I kept going. The main thing for me at that point was, hey, you can't drop out of a race. As soon as you do that once, that gets in your head. And when I show up at states, if it has crept into my mind at all, it's going to happen, and I can't let that happen. So kind of rebounded from that a little bit, started feeling a little bit better, probably got enough goos and water in me. And by the turnaround, I started feeling great. And people were like, oh, you look so much better than everyone else. And I was like, I know.
Well, clearly I feel better.
Yeah. And I was like, well, I did run very slowly for the first half, so that makes sense. And then from 25 to 30, I think I passed 3 runners, which was shocking. I think, I can't even remember, Jared, I guess I passed Jared on the way out.
Okay.
And then I passed Ryan Bach. And then right at mile 30, my buddy was crewing there, and he's like, oh, you just passed Pat as well. And I'm like, what is going on? This is awesome.
I guess I do feel good.
Yeah. So that obviously helped, especially because Pat and Ryan, I'm like, just idolize them. And I told them to their face, so they already know this, but I'm like, these guys are so good. They're so fast. I was like, I watched a documentary on Ryan in 2004.
Puppy Ryan, right?
Yeah. So, it's crazy to think that people are going to come back, but it happens every single time. You just have to trust that your fitness is there, and if you run your race, you're gonna have a good day. But unfortunately, I didn't quite do that. So I got excited when people were like, "You look so good! They're only 2 minutes ahead." One aid station, somebody was like, Sage is 5 to 10 minutes up. I'm like, that is the least helpful
That's a lot.
update. That's a pretty big range. That is like giving me a condom with holes in it. It's not gonna do me a lot of good.
Another reference, number 3.
We'll edit that out.
No, we won't,
I've been saving that all day.
No.
But anyways, I got excited. I got juiced up. Ran very hard for that middle 10-mile section.
From 30 to 40?
Basically 25 to 35.
Okay.
And that was also fire roads, which was a little bit easier for me. But then we re-entered the single track of the undulating in and out.
Really mean single track. At least mean at that point in the race.
Yeah. And I'd actually talked to some of the race organizers yesterday, and they said, yeah, we were cutting the hedges for Varner height. We were going to make it Varner certified, and then we remembered, oh, Mocko's in this. He's 6'3".
He's really tall.
They didn't do a great job with it. Those undulations were not built for 6'3", 170. So not perfect. I was kind of cursing myself. I was like, why did I eat all that food this week? If I was just 2 pounds lighter, it would have been easier.
If the people behind you found the trail to be more eroded, it was because you came banging down it.
Exactly. But then, we entered that, and all of a sudden I lost my climbing legs. And I'd just gotten a little excited, I think. It was also, 35 miles into a pretty hard day.
Yeah.
I don't know what my turnaround split was, but I think it was quite a bit faster than my return. But I started getting in my hike. And so pretty much every uphill, it was a little bit of hiking, a little bit of running.
Okay.
The downhills were fine. Downhills felt great, which is usually my weakest part. But the ups were pretty rough, and it was like there was no breaks. It was like, okay, you get like
momentary downhill.
I swear it was half mile down, 2 miles up, half mile down, 1 mile up, and I was like, this is a brutal course. And then I was looking at my watch, and I was like, how did this James Walmsley guy almost break 6 hours here? I'm like, oh my gosh,
brutal.
So anyways, that was the day in the nutshell. I got a sense that there wasn't anyone behind me, which helps. I felt like all the guys around me were dropping out, so it kind of helped to have a little cushion.
A little bit of space.
But I try never to race thinking about the people back. I'm trying to think about the people ahead, and I just didn't get a sense that I was catching up, which was unfortunate because for a while there I was like, we're gonna win this thing. We're gonna do it, but it didn't happen today. But
so all the way through around the south side of the lake, you didn't see anybody. You didn't get a glimpse of anybody in front of you or anybody behind you.
No.
Solo mission.
Yeah, solo mission. I was getting, they're 3 minutes up. At one point, somebody was like, they're 100 yards up, and they're actually 6 minutes up. I'm like,
Thanks.
how are you running this race and don't know how far 100 meters is? Unbelievable.
That's the type of person that you don't want them to help wave you into a parking spot because you're gonna really slam the car ahead of you.
And then the final climb, they were like, Dakota's only 2 minutes up. You're getting to him. You're catching him. And I don't know if he just didn't time it well, or it was my buddy Chris. I don't know if he didn't time it well or he was just trying to encourage me. But
he was really excited.
He was actually 4 minutes up, and I just started hauling. I was like, I'm going to have a 2006 States moment where I just black out on the course and don't make it. But it actually ended up, I'm very curious to see what my Strava flyby is to see if I was making up ground or losing it. The only real fiasco on the day was probably 4 to go. My shoes started getting a little loose, and I was like, what's going on here? And I looked down, and the lace had snapped, which tends to happen. I don't think Solomon does a lot of testing with like 170-pound guys bombing down hills. So the lace snapped, and I salvaged it at the very last minute and tied the last bit together. But as I was bending down, I kind of had lost control of a lot of my body, and so I started doing a little peeing. So now I'm like, I'm at my lowest.
That in an interview. I mean, a lot of people are going to watch that.
Hey.
And no shake.
Let's bookmark the peeing. We'll get back to that in a sec. But I'm like,
to get back to it. We really don't.
My shoe's coming off. I'm peeing on myself. I'm trying to tie it back up. And then it starts going in my water bottle, and I'm like, well, that water bottle's done. But like a mile later, I was like, I'm thirsty. We're still drinking out of it, so I'm not making any excuses.
No.
There's no way I was catching anyone, but.
And you drank your pee water?
And I drank the pee water, but.
No.
I don't think it actually was that bad, but I was like, this would be a better story
like
if
a
I
half
say.
Drop.
Probably a little bit.
That's disgusting.
But something I did notice, Dakota, 5 miles in, took a break to relieve himself. And I don't know if I'm the only one who does this, but I have trained myself to not have to stop anymore for bathroom breaks, for number ones. And so, I mean, it was a little embarrassing probably coming back because there's so many other athletes running out, and they're like, why is his shorts soaking wet right now? But you'd be amazed that a little bit of warmth, usually you like cool water, but a little bit of warmth goes a long way, and there's so many river crossings that you cool off by the time.
Bringing triathlon to ultra running one pee break, non-break at a time.
Yeah.
So awkward.
Super awkward.
Super awkward.
Hi, Mom and Dad. Yes.
Hi.
Your son just talked about peeing himself on live TV.
So you've had a good spring so far.
Yes.
You've raced a lot.
Yes.
You've got your eye on Western States.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you going to give yourself a little downtime between now and then before you ramp up to training, or are you just going to keep going full bore, racing every weekend or every other weekend? What's the plan?
Yeah, twice weekly. The plan is on Monday I'm going to fly to the Big Island of Hawaii and take a week.
Have a vacation.
To enjoy myself.
A proper vacation.
Coming through right around 15, or probably when I saw you, I was like, I'm not going to be able to enjoy this trip. I'm going to be grumpy the whole time.
Because they will have dropped or finished 100.
Yeah, this is going to be awful. I'm going to be grumpy. The weather is going to be terrible in Hawaii. The beaches are going to be ugly. But yeah, I have a ex-coworker who's getting married. Fortunately, I hate running in the heat, so I will have no desire to run. So I'm hoping I will take a down week. So that's the plan.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There is a chance, but I've surprised myself before. And now I have a growing, after Monday's interview, my Strava base following is growing. So I think they're expecting something big. So we'll see what happens. But right now, and I was already questioning it out there, I'm signed up for Canyons at the end of the month.
The 100K?
Right now I'm in the 50K.
Okay. Just keep it that way.
I might stay at 50K and then head into Virginia for UROC.
Okay.
So
100K.
That will be 100K.
In what month?
That is May 13th.
Yeah. So you're going to show up either like in one hell of a good shape, Chris Mocko at Western States, or you're going to be totally overblown.
Yep.
One or the other.
Yes. So the motto for this entire training cycle is I'm flirting on the edge of glory, as I've been saying, Lady Gaga, edge of glory.
Edge of defeat.
And it's either going to go really well or it's going to go really poorly. And the first climbs today, all I'm thinking is, I need to do more climbing. I need to do more squats. I need to do more butt exercises. I can't climb. I'm the worst. I'm terrible. I was texting my roommates last night, guys, I need to train harder. They're like, okay, not today, not tonight. You don't need to do that. And it's like the same thing that I've told myself 100 times the day before a race. You're going to self-doubt. You're going to feel terrible, all this stuff. And it happened. And I feel like the reason I felt terrible was probably from standing that interview on Monday.
Yeah, that really screwed
10
things
minutes.
up. Yeah.
I usually like to stay off my feet after my runs, and that was a lot of time.
There, we made you stand on that hard concrete of your back porch.
So yeah, I I might even drop out of canyons. I might just try to
Whoa.
get in a training cycle. But
Whoa.
the benefit to running that is that you get to see a lot of the course, and I've never run the canyon section and not felt completely dead. So I feel like I need to build some confidence there. And so I would like to go up there. And it seems like a great race. So probably show up for something. This guy, Cole Watson, just ran 49 minutes for a 10 miler, and he's in the 50K.
Okay.
That's brisk. That's brisk. So yeah, if I do run the 50K, it's going to be a fast day. But I mean, I kind of was telling myself,
this is Pear Blossom Cole Watson, right?
Pear Blossom.
New course record guy.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a pair of legs.
Yeah. He raced the TNF 50K in December, and I had a buddy, Chris Baird, who's a triathlete and my training partner, also in the race. And I saw this guy take off. I was like, don't worry about it. He's going to blow up. Nobody runs that fast in the 50K. And he did.
He did. They either blow up or they stick it, don't they?
Yep.
Okay, well, as much as I'd like to just hang around and see what comes out of your mouth next.
We haven't talked about dating yet.
No, that's okay.
Okay, we'll keep that for next time.
It's okay.
Keep the audience entertained.
We've already had enough awkward moments for today.
Promise this is my first beer. We're good. We're good. It's not the beer. This is just me.
This is just me. All me. Congratulations to you on your third place finish, and we'll see you in the beer line and see you in the wine tasting line tomorrow.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
We'll see you in Squaw.
Oh my gosh. See you in Auburn. See you in Auburn. That's more important.
Okay.
That's more important.
See you in Auburn. #. Thanks.